Alright, hello everyone, this is Flopjack, and I kind of want to make some videos here to help some of the newer people to Starcraft understand some of the basics of this game. And like, there's all kinds of talk about people talking about all these crazy strats, and there's like a lot of elitism going on around Starcraft, but it's a very fun game. But oftentimes in a new RTS, there's like so much to learn, and it can be very daunting, and you can sit around on a low skill level just because you don't know little tricks of the trade. So I was going to try to share some things. There's going to be 3 videos. The first one's going to be Terran Basics and Starcraft Basics in general. Then it will be Zerg Basics and Upgrades, and then Protoss Basics and Spells. So hopefully you guys can learn a few things. So I think I'm ready for this. I think I'm ready for the video. I think I have everything I want to show today. But here is the Terran Arsenal. Of course, we have the Marines here, which are a ranged basic unit. We have the Marauder here, which is anti-armor, and it also has a slowing effect every time it hits an enemy. So I believe we can probably replicate that right now. You can see the SP was slowed down a little bit. Well, if you couldn't, just trust me, it does. The Ghost, which is another ranged unit, but also has some interesting spells, such as Snipe Round, dealing extra damage to anything, I guess. EMP Round, which will... Anyway, we'll get to spells later. The Viking, which is both a land unit and a ground unit, depending on which transformation you use. Which it might work if I click on it. And when it's air, it's only air-to-air combat. When it's ground, it's only ground-to-ground combat. So a pretty flexible unit. Let's see. A neat little trick about this unit is you have to make sure it's completely stopped before it will transform down. So it seems like there's a delay, but it's actually waiting for the unit to slow down. The transformation itself is pretty much instant. Anyway, that's just a little tidbit if you wonder why it's not transforming the moment you click it. The Siege Tank, which has a range of 7, which is the range of defenses also, so it can almost... the range of defenses, pretty solid unit, but of course when it's in Siege mode it has a range of 13, which you can see on this this radius here. And we do have the Hellion and the Reaper, which are kind of under a classification of harassing units. I don't have the Reaper upgrade for speed, but I think it moves pretty quickly right next to the Hellion. The Hellion, of course, has a fire attack, and anything in that range you see will take damage. So if you have a unit right here and a unit right here, they're both taking damage from the same thing, but it doesn't deal a lot of damage to armored units. The Siege Tank is why it didn't deal much, but it will kill things like Zerglings, Zealots, and most biological units like all the Zerg units. Really, really good. So it's a tricky unit to use, and it's fast, kind of light. Anyway, it'll take some practice. The Banshee, which is an air-to-ground unit only, with a cloaking ability. We'll get into cloaking later, but basically cloaking is obviously invisible. And in order for your enemy to see that, they have to have some kind of detector there. Which brings me to the next unit. The detector for Terran is, of course, the Raven, a spellcasting unit / detection. We have a couple of abilities here. It can lay down turrets. It can lay down point defense drones. And what this point defense drone does is, when you have an enemy coming in, for example, this battle cruiser. Oh, that's actually a bad example. Let's use I'll use the battle cruiser. Okay, and it comes to attack a unit that's close to this defense drone. This defense drone will block those attacks at the cost of its own energy. You can see it's got 200. I think it's 10 apiece. I don't know. I think it's 10 energy to block every attack. So you lay down a few of those, and it will block incoming damage for your units. And when it runs out of energy, the drone will die. And the last thing it does is a Hunter Seeker missile. I don't have enough energy to use it. Basically, it's a homing missile. And what you'll see is it will launch a little ball, and it will have a laser pointing on the unit it's targeting. So if you're the victim of a Hunter-Seeker missile, you can know. And you pull that one unit away, because it's getting attacked, right, from that Hunter-Seeker missile, it will fall until it hits it. But if it hits it while it's near your other units, you will deal a lot of splash damage, so it's kind of a risky business, but it's an interesting spell. And of course the Medevac, which heals infantry, and it will also transport them. So that's kind of the setup here. Okay, Terran base building. There's a lot of crazy things you can do, and one of the most important things about Terran, since, as you can tell, like virtually all of their combat units are ranged. Everything in this ranged. Melee units are a big part of Protoss and Zerg, but the name of the game for basic Terran combat is keeping your opponent at arm lengths away. And a good way to do that is through choke points. So here I have a common thing that people do, just kind of ignore these buildings for now, but a common thing people do build their first barracks next to a choke point here. This is a choke point where you just have to kind of scuttle around and get in this little tiny concentrated area which you can shell out on your enemy. So that's a perfect time to use a choke point. And what you kind of see here, I can't quite put this barracks down, or this bunker down exactly where I want it, so I'm going to build a supply depot there also, and we're going to have completely blocked off access. And the way to test that, just take a unit real quick, click to the other side, and if he can get around, hopefully he can't. He can't, so you know that it's even Zergling tight, because a Marine is one of those small, tiny units. So not even a Zergling can sneak through here without having to destroy something at least. And part of the name of the game for Terran is buying yourself time. While those are building, I'm going to show you another way to set up your base. This is another kind of like basic base you can have. You would have more workers at this point, but the concept I want to show to you are the supply depots. Notice how I build my supply depots around my mineral field. The reason why I do that is because look at this SCV down here. If he's a Zergling, he can't get into my workers. Sometimes you'll see Zerglings, though opponent will make maybe 10 or so, and they'll come running in your base early in the game. And if they get a way to get into your mineral field and destroy your workers or hit a critical building, then you're going to be in trouble. So building your base in this way is another way to kind of choke your opponent off. And you see he can't get in there. And let's say at this point in the game, I've only been able to make 4 Marines out of this single barracks right here. Well, I don't want to just put all my Marines in a single bunker. I don't think that your opponent, and he may be able to, can tell how many Marines are in a bunker. So I'm going to split them 2 and 2. So no matter. And if you can kind of imagine this being a Zergling, no matter where this Zergling would go, if he tries to get in here, he's going to get constant fire from those bunkers. And it's just a real deterrent, and people will just run away. But we can also see that this kind of created a problem here. The way I built my base, one SCV is kind of making a long route to go around to bring Vespane gas. So in order to avoid that, what you can do is you can build your tech buildings kind of around that that building. I'm going to lower one of the supply depots, which of course you can use to get your units in and out. And if I build a couple tech buildings, let's see what else we need here. But I'm just going to throw something down there. An armory, whatever. You build some buildings that you actually need to go around there. Now let's put 2 SCVs working on there again, and hopefully it will prevent them from going around. And you can see that now they're making a quicker path there. There's another little trick you can do to kind of force units to do the right thing. So there's some interesting shenanigans here. This is my main base here. At some point in the game, you're going to run out of crystals, minerals in your main base, and you're going to have a series of expansions, obviously. You're going to lose your Vespane gas. One common thing for Terrans to do, I would say, is building a planetary fortress on your secondary expansion, because it's the most vulnerable to attack. Because you may have your first expansion up, or your first base up, it's well defended and stuff, right? But then you have your second expansion, which is more vulnerable to attack because you're just building it, your enemies lurking around outside, etc. So you get your units and you build maybe just some defenses. A key thing to remember about Terran is, in order for Terran to have the most out of the defenses, you have to actually use units, because the bunker is a huge part of it. And you can see that it takes away from your army supply limit at the top, whereas Protoss and Zerg, they're buildings. So I don't think that... No, spine crawlers and spore crawlers do not count against your count. So anyway, so something to know about that is you might, like a planetary fortress on your first expansion. It's cool to have guns on all your command centers, but you cannot negate the abilities of the, what's it called, orbital command, which of course gives you Mule, and what you'll do is you will target with the Mule, and you'll target on a piece of crystal, and it will launch down this thing, and the Mule comes out itself, which is this robot thing, and it brings in more crystals per load than the SCVs do, and it's on a time life, so eventually that will go away. But it only costs you energy. Another really great ability in the orbital command is call down extra supplies. And basically what you do is you just target a supply depot, and it will do a similar kind of effect. It adds this little add-on to the supply depot. It only costs energy, does not cost any of your resources, and it will double the output of that supply. So this supply depot now provides 16 versus the normal 8. It can still go underground, so that's a definite bonus. I would do that to your supply depots in kind of the back of your base, because you don't want that supply depot is now worth more because you put time and energy into it, and you don't want to try and transform like one of these unless you're like in a desperate situation, because this is more likely to get destroyed because you're using it as an actual block. Notice how I built this bunker kind of close to my planetary defense thingamajig. The reason why I did that was because it's kind of neat to move out here, like it's closer to your enemy and gives you more time to buffer, but more my actual firing is over here. So, you know, if I have some Marines in there, and you can even put Marauders in there, they take up 2 spaces, and now they can fire. really fire your own command center, but oops, crap. But you get the idea. And so both of these guns are now more opted fire, so if a large number of Zerglings or Zealots come in here,